Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about psychological madness. I want to talk about the madness that psychology is causing as a concept, but also the what it's giving man and the utility it has and how it can be utilized in modern thinking. You see, psychology has a certain madness because it is not accepting the observer. It is working with an individuation. And so when an individual begins to manage individuals, it needs to find a greater collective inspiration. And so you begin to see that as you're sitting perhaps on that couch and your therapist is speaking to you, you are not in need of another person's words, but to sincerely see where your words originate from. You need to see why you have decided in such a way. You need to see how you have come to this moment and how this moment is kept. You need to see the frameworks of thought. You need to see the individuation that needs to be here and that doesn't. You are a moment of being, an experiencer untouched. And as you walk in this life, you choose the amount and intensity of what needs to be here and what can be even seen here. Psychology suggests that there's a self and there's an association. We are given names and we walk in this life with tags, stickers all around, and we wonder if we really are the artist we think when such amount of life is intertwined. And so man must begin to see that he is representing the life that he is. So there is an aspect of your presence that you might have thought it's you, your name, and your personality, but there is an aspect of your presence that is existentially here. And so as an existential life form, especially one who has self-awareness, you look around the being. You look around and to see, you look around to see what the most intelligent being is, and you don't see any. And what that suggests is man is the opening to self-awareness. And that's what the animals did not have, but in a sense we're striving towards. That there is an opening here, that consciousness is situated in a way where there is a freedom of illusion. We are given freedom to dance in worlds of our own creation. We can create fantasies and so touch dance reality, whether it's in our subtler planes or us bringing it into actuality. You must look at this life with wonder, because if you don't, your reality will become too convincing. Wonder was not convinced. Wonder was, the minute they told it that was its seat, it was jumping up. It was looking for where the seat of the person driving the vehicle was. So what that means is, if you were that child who went into an airplane for the first time, you were like, take me to the pilot's cabin. Let me see what's in there. And as you do, you begin to see there are decisions being made by one aspect of individuality which move the rest of individuality, but at the same time there is something more. That man had teamwork, but human communication was suggesting the intelligence of the world. Psychological madness is that moment where you become so life sensitive that you are seeing that this life process does not need to be governed by an individual identity and association. And so for most of my life I thought I had to be, and I still see it's not that you don't have to be and you have to get rid of the identity. No, it is simply to acknowledge the limitation in a more limitless manner. What that means is to see your problem, put it in front of you, and to see that that answer has to come from within you. It has to originate in your awareness. You have to walk towards the worlds in which your serenity is waiting to teach you. The hidden glimpses of the serene. Recognize that associations are like stepping into vehicles. When we have beliefs, we step into those realities and those fixed imagery. It is very important not to subscribe to beliefs and to realize that we are not these structures. We are not in these structures. We are the wind between them. We are the whole world holding that which is finding itself to even be able to interpret the world. And so man must have an ability now to be able to existentially confront his reality in a manner where he's okay if he has to put aside the human idea and for the betterment of man just go see what is within him, go trust his intuition. What that means, it doesn't matter how much your environment says you got to do this or not do this. If intuitively you feel it, you do it directly. And gosh, there have been so many moments I have done actions like this, but it has always been a great it has always been a fruitful act. So what that means is, before I would get impulses of doing things, but I would judge them and there would be tons of self-talk. Then I trusted life and I let go of, in a sense, a certain framework of conception. And I just observed the novelty of my moment of being. And in doing so, I found a freedom which could not be judged because it was always infinitely seen. It's as if you see that you are not lost when it is you who is to see that you are found. You see? The self of selves is not hiding. It is everywhere. The omniscience in what is the greater aspect of man's being is that as we thought, that thought is something in our imagination, we too are within the imagination of this plane of existence, of this world. And so when you look at the Gaian mind, you are seeing that the planet needs no individuation. And so if we are children of this earth, we shall be extremely respectful when she needs our silence, when she needs our peace. My compassion at times is not for an individual being's projection. It is for my absolute knowing. It is that which needs to be done. And so I am that which needs no name. For I am the awareness to all names. And this is simply the human experience receiving its reunion. This has been said, guys, in ancient poetry, in sacred hymns. I don't know the poems exactly, but trust me, the imagery is beautiful. It's as if in their sacred hymns they were suggesting how this reunion was this joining, was this shift in consciousness where there never was a suffering. Do you see? But it's not because of suffering you're seeking it. Of course, realize this. You're not seeking spirituality because of a story. You're seeking spirituality to break the story, to see beyond the story. You're like, gosh, I don't want to be this character anymore, so how can I get an awareness more than the character, where I have to see where the character is? So you become oriented in the sense of being and seeing what's here and now, and there is a quality in how you can concentrate as a self-awareness to manifestation, to literally what is here, in which your presence is beyond physical orientation. So you become an observer of how the projection is here. Do you know? So what that means is you become the intelligence of the hand that is choosing whether the projector is on or off. You see, man is understanding life is programmed. You know, people are trying to seek algorithms in how time can be experienced and is experienced in a certain pattern. But regardless of how much we see fractals were just an inspiration. They were just a sign. Fractals were a clarification that keep going. Collective consciousness, you've just found the very beginning point of the mountain. The peak awaits. And so does the peak of how you acknowledge this life so compassionately, so sincerely, and just honestly with how you are alive, do you know? With your manner of being comfortably here, and with having a sense of conscious existential responsibility, the conscious being takes himself out of an association and recognizes that he never had to be conscious, and that is the unconscious presence. And so that is the ability of consciousness to collectively be present. So it is not that based on an objective reality we are multidimensional. It is knowing of the multidimensional emptiness, the multidimensional reality through a sense of emptiness, through a sense of nothing, in which the individuality has come. So it's not that the individual has gone in the future in a sense and built a time machine and is coming back to itself now, and gosh, your guides are you from the future. And even though that is valid in certain settings of observing reality, but what is here is beyond the segmentation of what it is. What that means is, regardless of how much you as a human being tell me, another human being, that your name is Bob or John or whatever your name is, right? I will look in your eyes in a way where, as if, do you know that you are a life intelligence? Do you know that you are an existential observance? Do you know of the absolute edges of your mind in which when you walk to those edges you see something you could not see before? Tell me in this multidimensional reality that I was forever illusion, I was forever an illusion, and you were the certainty of your origination. Begin to see this as a co-creation. A multidimensionality is the ability for beings to become pilots of consciousness, to, in a sense, navigate as their plane of existence. So you are trying to contribute to this reality as the most able aspect of your multidimensional presence. In other words, you're just allowing yourself to naturally be, and your joy, your reality is becoming blissful because there's an existential allowance for it, in a way where it's as if every moment you're surrendering every beauty to the next beauty of the next reality. And guys, when I say beauty, this is a beauty beyond. This is like being surprised in a way where your whole world turns differently. It changes. It transforms. It is experiential alchemy. And this beauty is unspeakable, but trust me, you will find many words pouring out the minute you are in that state of consciousness. There was a moment in my life where I just decided to be a writer, and this is, of course, way back before my eyes opened again. I read this quote, I think it was by Ernest Hemingway, which said, "Write drunk, edit sober." And so I just wanted to write this novel, and I was watching this TV series called Californication or something. And so I wanted to just write something in that kind of style. And I sat down to write, guys, and I saw I could write nothing. I could try, and for an hour, well, all that I had done was learn more about how to drink. I had been more creative in my drinking than I had been in my writing. And so at that moment I realized there was nothing to offer because I did not have a vision that needed to be communicated. But then later on, certain things happened in my life and my state of consciousness changed. And so as it changed, I realized the inspiration for creativity is not based on the physical. But there is a physical inspiration to it too. So what that means is when you look at a tree, there is the inspiration of the fruit in which you can go pick up and interact with it. In other words, how the human experience can, in this very vast dimensional network, experience different aspects of itself. And there's also the roots which are hidden. So what that means is the reason why Mr.Within says really profoundly see the beauty in what you do not know is because it does not mean you do not know. It means you become transcendentally situated where the collective consciousness knew always what the individual consciousness was trying to find. You become a direct aspect, a direct moment of experience, and your freedom is in the dawn of an eternal silence, which its voice was the whole cosmos. Psychological madness is simply a wall. And trust me, don't waste too much time on this wall. Instantly acknowledge it and go explore yourself more authentically, become more honest, and enhance your sense of experience in this life. And as you just immediately pass that wall, because it's not a good wall, it's just one of those random walls where the sides are open. So just cross past this wall, okay? This wall of a thinker, and begin to see that through your most sincerest observance of your memory, you will find the actuality of experiences that were again transcendentally situated, so you will see that you have always known of your collective. You might have thought, or someone might have convinced you that you were individual, but something within you made you stand towards the light of man's collective dawn. So what that means is, whether you call it God conscious, unified field theory consciousness, or whatever you like to call it, the man who sincerely, through devotion, looked into the eyes of a concept of God, noticed that he was looking at this greater aspect of intelligence, which was the self. And so as the self recognizes that the other emanates from it, the spark was unspeakable, but again very profoundly, intelligently here. There is a plan, there is a design. And there have come certain moments in my life where I have entered certain rooms where I've tried to not leave this physical reality, but to go explore, not in my own search, but by very authentically, sincerely traveling. It's as if after obtaining a sense of very deep existential honesty, you are within a flow of consciousness where you don't need to be in the reality you are, because your intelligence has gone to a point where you're simultaneously experiencing the self within many projections, which is all here now, and you're not thinking about it. It's intuitively flowing. There's a collective of consciousness here, guys. What that means is, my friend, you don't have to do only the thinking. The thinking is being done. That flower is sprouting. That lotus is inviting the unborn Buddha to the journey of the manifest world. My friends, you are a transcendental being. You are a multidimensional being. And these things really can't be talked about, but as you experience through self-exploration and begin to see the wisdom of the grace of life without your touch of interpretation, that sense of being untouched never needed no therapy. The awareness is clear in itself. So what that means is there's no need for questions when you know that which is here. For the dreamer could only be a dreamer if he was awake. Much blessings and namaste.